So I've spent a lot of time this morning, little pieces of sandpaper, and working this body putty out of the grooves that I put it in to try and give myself that little rounded edge. It's not very good, to be honest with you, because it's so tight I can't get my fingers in there. So I'm going to go and do the worst thing I could possibly do, and I'm going to try and use a Dremel with a little rounded bit on the end of it. Try and clean it up, because I just can't get my fingers to get in these little spots that I added it in. I may have just added too much. It was hard for me to do because it was hardening as fast as I was putting it on. I may have put too much hardener in. I don't know. This is a Bondo body putty, so we'll get it cleaned up, and then we'll try. I bought some of that oxide red paint. I keep hitting this and damaging it, so I don't know if I'll have to rebuild that if it'll work, but we'll see. Anyways, I'm going to try and use the Dremel and see if I can't get these spots where my fingers can't go and get them cleaned up, because that's all just a gunky mess right now. And up here. So we'll let you see it when we get done. Okay, as per Ally Avenue forum, gentleman said to try and use the, well, that's great, just a reflection, you can't see it, primer, oxide red primer, which is what that is in case you can't see it, and a can of Bondo body filler, which is what you saw me working on earlier in the video. He said the oxide primer makes everything like a glass finish, and he's pretty much right. Everything is a glass. Okay, so we finished the Plaque primer and painting with the oxide red primer. I tried putting some I'm sorry, I'm probably not on the screen here. I tried putting some of these standard label embossed stuff. I'm going to see how that turns out. It's on the back of the plaque, so we'll see how that turns out. This is our third attempt actually at this thing. I went out and bought some new sand as well since my last burnt or melt. I bought some Petrobond sand, and one of the big questions I had when I was shopping for sand was, what's the amount you get? And this is a 1 foot by 1 foot by 6 inch box, and it was packed all the way. There's not a centimeter of space left in this box. It was packed to the top of the box, and actually it was bulging. So that's how much you get when you buy Petrobond sand from Petrobond.com, I think it is. I'll put a link on the video here so you can see where I got it. This box, because I was coming through a website called Ally Avenues as a member of that site, I got this. It was $59, and I got, I think, a $5 coupon coming through that site. So $55 for this box. It's called the 35-pound box. And it just so happens that my cope and drag together is, well, the outside is 1 foot by 1 foot by 6.5 inches. So, and then I had the two top cans that I fill up as well, with a hole in the middle, and then obviously the part in the middle that's vacated. But inside is what you're actually measuring. So I have 9.5 by 9.5, well, by 6.5. So this should be more than enough to get those two and this. What I don't have, and I'll have to build, and I just read this, I don't know this from experience because I haven't used it yet, but this sand, this Petrobond sand, is an oil-based sand, not a water-based sand. And I believe it's 140 fine grit or something along those lines. It has to be, whatever's touching the where the molten metal is when it's poured, gets really black, and has to be mold, is what they call it, mold, before you can use that part of the sand again. And the molding of the sand, that part that's surrounding your piece, gets burnt really bad, and you basically separate that from the rest of your sand, and you have to mold it back into your sand with a molar, and basically that's a big round metal wheel of some sort that's basically crushing it back together and just kind of remixing it. I've heard some people do it by hand, but it's a lot of extra work to do it by hand because you literally are crushing the oils back into the sand and knocking loose all the burnt parts of the sand, the carbon burn buildup or whatever it is, off of the sand. So that's a process, and a lot of people build machines. They put it in the machine, let the machine just go round and round and round and crush it back in and turn it back in, because one piece turns it back into the center and another piece crushes it and just kind of blends it back in. And when you're reactivating the sand after time, after use, you use like an alcohol, a rubbing alcohol type mixture. So I don't know how it works really, to be 100% because I've never used it. This is just some of the stuff I've read. So I'm going to experiment today, obviously, and try it. I don't know that I won't buy another 55 pounds of it because this just fits my needs for this cope and drag. I'll probably need more if I make a bigger one. I can't do very long pieces in here, even diagonal. I only have just over 12 inches there. Point to point is 13. So obviously I couldn't put a 13-inch piece in here. But I'll be wanting to make a bigger one at some point, but probably not wider, probably just a longer one to get some of those long products that I would want to make in the future. But for now, this is plenty for what I'm doing. We'll see how it goes in the future. If I buy another one of these, I'll probably buy another 35 pounds and just call it there for now. So I noticed last time that I had this wobbling effect, and I thought at first it was these, but it's not. It's actually my box has deformed a little bit over time. And that's important because when I'm pounding it down in there, I don't have a flatness to it. So I'll put my part in, and I'll pound on this, and I'll be pounding on the edges, and it wobbles, which leaves a gap. So I think that may be part of why my sand that I was using previously was all over the place. So I can't do the other one first, because you have to do the downside first, and that has the wooden pieces. So I can't do this one first, and I can't do it the opposite way, which would be this way, even though that's really smooth. So I can't do it that way because the piece has to be up top. If I do it, so that's why I'm getting some of my issues, I think, with pounding it down. So I'm going to run my sander real quick and try and clean this up. The only problem is once I clean this up, right now I have a really good seal between there and, that's backwards, I got these marked, right there and there, and if I clean that up, you see how they're perfect right now? So I don't know how I sand the one down, and then I have to come back and sand this one down. So I'm unsure where that unbalanced part is and how I fix that without messing up my connectors. So it looks very level, but it's obviously not. So there must be a twist in both of them that happen together. So for this time, I'm going to wedge it with some paper. I'm going to get that and be right back. So all I did was throw thin pieces of cardboard in there. I think I reversed it a little bit by doing that, so might take a little bit out of this side, I don't know. It's tough to find the perfect spot for it, but there's just a piece over here. Gotta find a better, these latches are great when you're closing it down, but there we go. Good enough. And I grabbed the glove because somebody mentioned using a 2x4, 2x2 or something like that instead of using this big old piece of metal to pack my stuff in. So I may try this, pointy end to get down in the points, although it's a little busted, but we'll see. I'll try it and see how it works. And I'm going to assume, and now they say never assume, you still have to use the release agent when using Petrobond sand. So that is what I'm going to do here. all pretty fine, and I've never used it, but I'm still going to do the standard screen over the top of it here, just because if it'll even go through a screen, I don't know. Starts to. Not very good, though. I think it's a little bit more oily than I thought. It really doesn't go through the screen at all. Maybe because it's packed tightly right now. I've never used it, so. It's getting a little scribblings on there, which will maybe be enough. I don't know. We're going to go. It isn't really going through my screen. My screen's too fine for it, which is interesting because my sand did go through it. Man, does it hold amazingly. Holds together good. How well. It's just so fine. I thought it was 140, but it is so fine a sand. $55 a box, which is by no means cheap. You definitely don't want to waste it by dropping it all over your garage floor and losing it. Whereas my other sand, I wasn't too concerned about it. I just make more. It was just cat litter and sand. This is much easier than that big, heavy thing that I was using previously. Much simpler. Let me see how much tape I have left here. We're good. Definitely have to get this out of this plastic bag and into a bucket. It's kind of a pain working out of this bag. But I could have done it before. In fact, let's get rid of the bag. I need to go to the store anyway and get a 5-gallon bucket. Put it in. Get a fresh bucket to put it in. See how fast you can lose it on your garage floor. Man, it packs so good you could almost do it by hand. It does pack good. Holy cow. I wonder how long it holds this awesome packing power. Almost feels like you're working with clay and not sand. I'll tell you what. Amazing compared to green sand. At least amazing feel to it. I guess the final product is the real test, right? Alright. Plug that back. It just wants to stick to your hands. It's weird. Get out my... because, to be honest with you, it is tight in there. It packs down so good that there's no real packing to it. Alright, let me get my metal plate to scrape off with. One light coat, take the massive parts off, come through nice and slow and get the last layer of it. Little piece of something there. Feels like rock, but it could just be a bunch of oil that got stuck together in one spot. That's what I feel like it is, actually. Alright. Turn this over. So the problem with paper, and I thought about this ahead of time, is that now my wood is not the base of my product here, okay? You can see I have a ledge. And I thought that would be a problem, but I don't know that it will be. We're going to assume that it won't be a problem, because it'll just stick up into the next piece once I do that. And we shall find out. Alright. Of course, we'll have to put a little more powder down. Let's see, black on black. Keep it from sticking in those spots where I wiped it off. Powder, anyway. The release agent, as they call it, not used. Alright, on to the second side. A little more of this plastic bag because it was really catching my hand as I try and grab it. And alright, we still got time. Another note on this Petrobond. The guy I bought it from is really good at shipping it to me. I mean, I ordered this and had it within 3 days. He's in Indiana and I'm in Illinois, but I know that's close, but anyways, it was pretty impressive how fast it was. We're going to try this again. I don't know if that's helping much because it really is too clumpy to get it to do that this time around. So we're just going to do it by hand again. Get a little bit down all the way around. And then we'll bigger amounts. I'm going to pack it once. just going to be just a little more than I need it for my particular box. But not much more, to be honest with you. Because you can see how close I am here. And still have to put some risers on it. And I'm close to filling up my box, and I'm close to running out. So the size of the box that I have is about as large as you're going to go with a 35 pound bag of this stuff. I dare say I won't get much of a riser out of it because of how much I put into this. So I need to buy another second box of this. But I definitely have enough to finish this job. I really should have locked these down before I start patting away. There we go. This is the top of my box, and it's not perfect. I really need to adjust the top of my box a little bit, but as we all know, it doesn't have to be level on top. It doesn't serve any purpose to be level on top. Alright. Put some sprues in here. I always forget to mark my height. I need to mark it on the go ahead and mark it right now. There we go, little markers. Huh. Interesting. Come in a little bit. So strong that it sticks to itself down below, so those did not come out. So we'll have to turn it over and hope they pop out simple enough. If not, we'll take them out and come out, I'm sure. Yeah, look at that. Alright. Take it apart. Here's the true test. Would you look at that? Oh my gosh, that is perfect. It's beautiful. Compared to what I've been doing, it's beautiful. Completely beautiful. Holy cow. That is beautiful. Alright, now I gotta cut some gates. And then we're ready to pour this thing. However, I don't have any melted yet, so it will sit for a bit, to be honest with you. And I don't have any screws in this, and I did it upside down because of the way it has a back and a front, and I can't screw it out, but I knew when I was cutting my gates that I'd be able to get underneath of it from both sides and pop it up. So that's what we're doing. Oops, didn't really plan on that busting out that way. Gotta mirror that next time. That's just more I'll have to carve off in the end. Let me get one of my spoons out here. This would be easy to scoop out if I had a spoon. Cut there. I have a tool to blow that stuff out, but I can't find it. Where's it at? Am I sitting on it? Just pressing it all into the wrong spot. Blow it out of there. Last time I cut this way and it fell out, so this time I cut this way. That's better. I'll do that for next time. It is nice to pack it down with your hand. I had a problem. See, I got a little close to my edge there again. I don't like that. Any extra stuff just sitting around top here. I'm going to go to pull it out. Alright, so that isn't what I planned on, but a little breaking on the edge. That could have been my mold, not my pattern not being curved right here again. So have to work on that a little bit. And I got to work on I'm testing this lettering on the bottom here just to see how much of that will hold. It's actually pressed in, so, and this had to cut off last time as well, just because of the way my pattern's made. Don't want to use that. Yeah, I noticed that the edge right there all the way around is starting to crack. But that's alright. A little bit of sanding on the bottom won't hurt anything. Didn't really watch when you got cut off. Hopefully you got some of the mold building there. I'll come back and look at it later and see what you did and what you didn't get. So it went really well. Got to make some risers. I probably got enough sanding here left to make the 2 risers, and we'll be good. So set this aside for now. Make 2 risers. Work with the big one first. Is that enough? Beautiful. There's one. You get another big can. A small can makes it hard to do. But it does let me know which one's my riser and which one's my screw. In this case, it doesn't really matter. Nice. Very nice. Alright, so just to give you an idea how much sand I had left there. I'm going to run a sand aluminum melt tonight.
Alright.
Melted extra fast this time. Alright. We're going to go to the big pour, the little pour, and then the rest are going to go in the muffins if there's any left, okay? We're going to stop on the thing here. I already took off all the scrap stuff. Coming out. Around. Stop in here for a second. Try and get my stuff in the right position. core first. You ready? Go. Little bitty core. Experimental. Oh, detail. Hopefully it's still hot enough. Come on. Experimental. And the rest goes in here. Ooh, having trouble pouring there. Right there. Sweet. Kill this. Pull it out. Now we just take the camera off the stand. So we just cracked open our mold and we're inspecting it. It's pretty hot. I'm trying to keep the burnt sand away from the rest of the sand. What I started doing is putting all the burnt sand from the sprue and there's a piece that's not burnt. It's hard to tell the difference, but you can see, especially as expensive as this sand is, well, I wouldn't say it's expensive, but about $1.20 a pound. You can see, if the light in there is close, the little initials, or little letters I put on there, actually did show up. So now we got to scrape away the black sand, because that's actually oils burnt up on it. And then all the rest of the sand can go back in and be reused. The black sand has to be mulled before we can reuse it. And hopefully I'll be making a muller next. So we're going to clean this off very carefully. I'm not going to video it, tape it, because I want to be careful not to mix the two sands. I'll be back in a little bit. Alright, so there's the burnt sand, little cake pan, and there's all the unburnt sand. You got a little bit, but not much. For the most part, that's unburnt. So yeah, we got a lot of burnt sand that we're going to have to mull. So it looks like, oh, I don't know, together I got about 15 to 20% of it ended up getting burnt. So definitely going to need to do something with a muller or I'll run out of sand quick. Alright, here we are with our finished product. I noticed a few minor imperfections right there, interestingly enough, but otherwise, very nice. Everything turned out really nice. I'm going to flip it over for you. Not with my bare hands, though. There's the wording. Hard to see, but I'll take a picture of it. Pictures turn out better all the time. And there is the little extra I made with some extra aluminum that I had. Nice big back to it, but I can cut that out and file it down. Anyways, turned out beautiful. Happy about it. Got a big old bunch of sand I got to mull over, but that's to be expected for this. Alright, here's the hardest part. Trying to cut off these sprues. I'm going to start off way out here. Cut it off. And then I'll get grinder to grind down the extra pieces that are stuck up on the inside. So we'll show you when we're done. Okay, I got the sprue and the riser cut off. And, well, I cut a little closer on one side than I did the other. This way. So I got a lot more filing to do over here. I guess I could hack at it a little more with the saw. I don't know. It's a lot of filing to do. So I may try and get a little closer with the hacksaw since it goes a little faster. This side I don't have much filing to do, but a little bit. So that's that. And we'll start trying to put it in the, clean it up a little bit, try and put it in the wood frame. And we're still going to try and engrave this. I think for these parts that are bad here, I'm going to get some sandpaper and do a wet sand through here and see how much that changes the look of the metal. If it changes the look of the metal, I'll have to sand all of it to make it consistent, which is fine. I don't mind that. I had planned on doing that originally, but boy, it sure came out smooth, so I don't know that it needs it, except for in the spots like here, here, and a little bit up there. I'm guessing that was that little bits of stuff right there is sand falling into this stuff as I'm closing my mold maybe. Maybe not, because it's actually metal out, so it's probably sand that was not there. Or something, I'm not sure. Everything else is really good. No real imperfections anywhere else. I still have a little bit of sand in it that I need to pick out with a little brass brush. A little fine brass brush and get some of the sand out. Little grooves right in there. There's some down there. Then I'll need to go along to file and file all this off. I'll probably use a grinder to start with and then switch to a file. I won't do much to the back because it is the back, but you can see this little bit in this groove here. I'll have to clean that up a little bit so I have a ledge to set into the plaque. All around there's a little bit of stuff in the groove. Won't matter too much, I just need a flat edge to set it in the plaque. So I'll have pretty much there. But that's where my relief or draft was not properly done. This edge is not perpendicular to this. It actually comes back out a little bit, just a hair, and I think when I pulled it up, I should have put a draft in there with the body putty as well along this whole edge, because you can see where on the whole edge it's got little bits of sand that were breaking away in there, causing me to have metal in there. So that whole spot, it's the only space I had that problem, and that's where I didn't put in my body putty. So even on the back, I guess it's important. Although I guess I'd still have a fillet just like this, just a smooth one instead of a rough one. So, and I don't know if I remember pointing this out when I was making it, but I had a little piece of sand right here, and instead of blowing it off with the pump that I was using, I wiped it off with my thumb, and that's my thumbprint. So, pretty interesting. Got my name and date on there from the, this is done with the, I guess I showed you on the pattern, but the little label press thing that you squeeze it, turn it to another letter, squeeze it, turn it to another letter, and it prints out a little label. I stuck them on there, on the back of the plaque, because I wanted to be able to keep track of when I made it. And I thought, well, I'll leave it in there for the melt to see how it does. And sure enough, man, it's amazing. I don't know if you guys can really see that in the video, but the picture's just, it's amazing. Pretty cool. So, another way to, I could have put the lettering in here, I guess, as well, that I want to put in here. So, I don't know, just a thought for future melts that there is a way to do that by just setting the raised letter in here on the wood, on the pattern, and it would actually pick up that pattern, that detail. So we'll have to keep that in mind for next time. And I really am trying to find some raised letters. I don't know where to get raised letters at. I've been looking all over the place. I saw some train companies, train modeling companies have little plastic letters that you could, I guess, super glue down. So anybody got any other ideas, let me know. Alright, gotta do some filing.